Hi, everybody. My name is Jennifer, and today I'll be going over socio-emotional development in infancy, which is a guide to understanding your baby's development. I hope you guys enjoy. So, how do emotions and personality develop? Well, there's three different stages of development. First is emotional development, there's temperament, and personality development. Could you imagine your life without emotions? The book actually defines emotion as being a feeling or effect that occurs when a person is in a state or an interaction that is important to him or her. There's certain regions of the brain that develop and play a role in the emotions of the baby. Primary emotions and different types of crying are certain indicators. Emotional expressions are involved in infants' first relationships. The ability for infants to communicate emotions is very important and can actually define their future development emotionally. I'm sure you've heard of easy child, difficult child, shy child, and so on. But how quickly an emotion is shown can determine what kind of child you're dealing with. Independence becomes a central theme in the infant's life. There's transition from separation to individuation, which is where the baby actually needs you and is now trying to develop a sense of their own self. Eric Erickson and Margaret Mahler have a great understanding and theory of the importance of independence. Independence, like I said, is super important in the second year of life. Erickson described the second stage of development as the infant's mental and motor abilities. This is when the infants feel pride in their accomplishments, such as crawling, climbing, and even learning how to walk. It is important for parents to recognize the motivation of toddlers to do what they are capable of. When the parents are impatient and do for toddlers what they are capable of doing themselves, they can develop a sense of shame and doubt, which greatly influences the infant's future development. Attachment and its development. Both develop in a series of phases. So from birth to 2 months, 2 years, 2 months to 7 months, 7 to 24 months, and 24 months on. A fun fact is that Freud noted that infants become attached to the person or object that provides oral satisfaction. A lot of the attachment emerges from social cognitive advances that allows the infant to develop expectations for their caregivers, like their mom. These social cognitive advances include recognizing the caregiver's face, voice, and other features, as well as developing an internal working model of expecting the caregiver to provide pleasure and social interaction. So, strange situation is based on how babies respond, and they are described in a few different ways, like I've listed there. Securely attached babies, insecure avoidant babies, insecure resistant babies, and there's insecure disorganized babies. So let me go back and kind of explain what strange situation is. It's an observational measure of infant attachment in which the infant experiences a series of introductions and
Hello there.
I'm sorry, just a second.
It's no problem.
So, sorry about that. My phone was trying to talk to me during this presentation. So, moving on now. Like I was saying, basically, what this is a way for people to understand how their attachment has affected their infants. So, securely attached, they use their caregivers as a secure base from which to explore the environment. Insecure avoidant babies show insecurity by avoiding their mother. Insecure resistant babies often cling to their caregiver and then resist by fighting against the closeness, perhaps by kicking or even pushing away. Insecure disorganized baby are disorganized and disoriented. You can kind of see them all over the place. So, if you're wondering, is the style of caregiving linked with the quality of the infant's attachment? It absolutely is. There are many things that affect attachment of infants, and of course, there are a lot of studies that go over this. But my personal favorite study is where it reflects a development cascade model, which states that social influences also contribute to the attachment development of an infant. Whether or not an infant is able to securely attach can determine their behavior at a later time. Research on the role of hormones and neurotransmitters in attachment has emphasized the importance of the two hormones, oxytocin and I believe it's pronounced vasopressin. So, oxytocin is released in different times, like during breastfeeding and contact and warmth. Some key candidates for influence this attachment are connections between the frontal cortex and hypothalamus. How do social contexts influence social emotional development in infancy? This is where we go over what does influence. And one of the main things is family and childcare. So, of course, while we've gone over kind of how emotions have developed and which regions of the brain that the baby is actually in during those different times, it's also super important to manage your child's behavior. And you can do that in 2 easy steps. Of course, in addition to sensitive parenting, other important aspects include kind of trying to eliminate those undesired behaviors. This is your opportunity to teach your child right from wrong. So, step one, being proactive and child-proofing the environment so infants won't encounter potentially dangerous objects or situations. Step two, engaging in corrective methods when infants engage in undesirable behaviors such as excessive fussing, crying, or even throwing objects and so on. The second year. During this year, parents really have to monitor their children. There was a study shown on discipline methods that parents were using for the first 24 months, and the results for me were shocking. More than 1/3 of parents had yelled at their infants. Everybody knows, I mean, this is their opportunity to really parent and instill those great morals into those children, and yelling is definitely a counteraction to that. So, for a recap of what we learned here today, emotions and personality develop in 3 stages. There's emotional development, like we discussed. What is emotion? Temperament. Temperament is the easy child, the shy child, and so on. And personality development. Independence becomes a central theme for the infant during the second year of life. And attachment and development occur in 4 phases. Now, it's super important to not overthink how to monitor your child because that can do just as much bad as good. But overall, you want to make